Hi guys, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. How you guys doing on this rainy, windy Monday afternoon? I hope you guys are doing good. I am so happy, guys, that I don't have to go back out in this weather today. I was out earlier, and I went to work earlier, and the wind was raging. It was really like crazy out, and it's still raining really hard. The wind is blowing. On a day like this, it's good to be in the house, have some tea, self-care, and just relax, guys. And I'm glad I'm doing that today because it's been hard for me to relax and take care of myself. Um, I had to change some things around, and I'm glad I did because it allowed me to self-care even more. Especially, guys, when you got a lot going on, it's so important to self-care and take care of yourself. Make sure you're okay, health-wise and otherwise, mentally, physically, you know. Never neglect yourself because it's important, to eat right, get enough rest. Um, Minimize anything that's stressful in your life, guys, as much as you can. I know we can't get away from a lot of things completely, but we can minimize, change things around so that we can take care of ourselves. And don't let anybody make you feel guilty about that. It's important. So, guys, with that being said, I hope you are doing well and that these messages are helping you and that you're taking care of yourself. That's the key factor here, and to persevere. You're going to have days where you just feel really great, and then you're going to have days where you don't even feel like getting up. I know I have days like that, but I push through them. I allow myself to feel the pain, and then after feeling the pain, etc., I don't allow myself to stay there. So that's another key factor, with grief, pain, anxiety. Allow yourself to feel a little bit of that, but don't stay in that place. Do things to uplift your spirit so you can be high vibing and not staying in that low frequency. So with that being said, guys, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a social worker or a counselor, just somebody who's been through a lot of hell, trauma, trials, circumstances, and I talk about how I overcame those things instead of succumbing to it. And I'm going to share some very interesting things with you today so that you guys, anybody who's dealing with anxiety or toxicity, high levels of it, we're going to talk about what you can do about that, okay? So that's the topic of discussion today, anxiety and toxicity. It seems like the world is full of more toxicity today than ever. Everywhere you go. This is why I only take in a little bit of the news, not a lot. I only can withstand 5 minutes of it. And I force myself to do that so that I know a little bit about what's going on, because that is important as well. But I won't keep myself there because it can quickly lower your mood, especially if you high vibing and you in a good mood, and then 5-10 minutes of the news, it's like, oh my God. So I don't allow myself to take in much of that. So gossip, lies, envy, jealousy, and drama starters. That's what we got in this world today, and it seems to be the norm. It seems to be growing, and it seems like a lot of people may be gravitating to this way of living. But what happens with all these things? What's the outcome? All of these things, gossip, lies, envy, jealousy, and drama starters, equals stress and anxiety. And stress and anxiety can be one of the major health threats in this world we live in today. Taking in too much of it, not taking care of yourself, all these things can affect our mental and physical health. One of the ways, guys, that I take care of myself, my mental and physical health, is to cut off, block, and delete all of the above. and I had a hard time with that. But therapy and working along with my therapist and setting boundaries and doing a pro and a con list have helped me to do that effectively without feeling any kind of way about it. Because I used to hesitate when my therapist told me to set boundaries. Because one of the things I would say to him, well, people are going to feel some kind of way if I do this. And he said, your physical and mental health is should be a priority. And that's what I'm sharing with you guys today. Your physical and mental health should be everything. Because if you're not okay mentally or physically, you can't help yourself, you can't do for yourself or anything else around you. So that must be a priority. And the noise of toxicity that's around you, I learned how to tune that stuff out. Because it's like crabs in a barrel, as I use all the time as a metaphor. Misery. There's a song called Smiling Faces. I'm pretty sure many of you heard that. Misery loves company. It doesn't want to sit by itself. So if one crab gets up to the top of that barrel and the rest of the crabs can't get there, all the rest of the crabs is going to pull that crab right back down to the barrel at the bottom with them, because they don't want to see you win. And this is what it is with haters. People who love negativity, drama starters. They don't want to see you win. No matter what your credentials are, no matter what qualifications you have, no matter if you build something from the ground up, they don't want to see you win. Just because they can't be there. They at the bottom of that barrel, they want to drag your ass right back down to the bottom with them. And what I say, leave them there. Cut off, block, and delete. And I had to learn that and feel no kind of way about it. Because I used to get upset. Well, blah, blah. Remember, guys, I'm a person. Before I started this healing journey, I used to be subservient to other people. I grew up in an organized religion teaching self-sacrifice. Sacrifice yourself for other people and situations. Forget about what you want. And I always thought that was the right way until I learned to heal after going through a lot of trials and trauma and things that affected me mentally and physically. A lot of losses. I had to change the broken mindset that I grew up with. What happens in this house stays in this house. But if what happens in this house stays in this house, the trauma that we experience, the mental health that's broken, how do we fix that if we're not addressing the elephant in the room? How do we fix that if we're walking around the elephant in a room, which I use as a metaphor of pain, and that pain is growing and getting bigger, but we're not addressing it and pretending it's not there? Because what happens with that pain, it stays stuck and stagnated within us. And then we grow up with that pain, believing the broken mindsets. Now we're carrying burdens, heavy burdens. And then we're going to new connections with luggage and baggage and burdens. How do we expect to win? How do we expect to grow, heal, and evolve if we're carrying all this luggage? Tons of bricks on our backs. Not only was I carrying tons of bricks on my back, I was carrying everybody else's burdens because I was subservient to them to keep these folks in my life when I should have left them at the bottom of the barrel, because these folks live on broken mindsets. Some of these folks don't want to grow, heal, and evolve. They like it. They're comfortable at the bottom of the barrel, because it's too much work to look at yourself. It's too much work for them to look at the pain. It's too much work for them to grow, heal, and evolve. They rather stay comfortable at the bottom of the barrel. And when they see you getting and growing and getting up to the top, they want to drag you back down. And that's why my boundaries went into a cutoff, block, and delete. Because when someone doesn't want to see me win, doesn't want to see me grow, heal, and evolve, and take care of my mental and physical health, I have to cut them off, leave them where they are. And guys, it doesn't matter, family, friends, whoever. whatever connection it is. If it's not for my highest good, if it's not for your highest good, then you have to set those strong boundaries. And sometimes it hurts to set boundaries with people because some of these people have been in your life forever. However, when someone doesn't want to see you grow and heal your mental and physical health, you have to set boundaries so that you can redirect the focus back to yourself, because they would do things to get you off your healing path, to distract you so that you can put them first instead of yourself. And if you continue to do that, then you neglect yourself. When I was being subservient to other people, running, skipping, hopping, carrying their burdens on one foot, carrying mine on the other, I was neglecting self. Self-care, anything that had to do with me was falling apart. And I am just as important. You are just as important. And without your physical and mental health, you can't help anyone or yourself. So this is why you have to set boundaries. It's important. It's necessary for your growth. And when someone doesn't want to see you grow, I encourage most people to set boundaries. But when I see for myself that they want me at the bottom of the barrel, they get cut off, blocked, and deleted. When we allow ourselves to engage in toxic habits, then we jeopardize our physical and mental health. What I notice is when I become silent to these toxic individuals, I diffuse the fire that they want to ignite. I put it out through my silence, because the only way that they can grow in this toxicity, if you help them to ignite that fire. What I do is diffuse it, because you can't engage in a toxicity if you give no comment to it. You give no attention to it. You can't, ignite that fire, or they can't ignite that fire if you give no attention to it. It will diffuse it. I reserve my energy by not playing in this game of toxicity. Some folks are miserable and they want your company. They want you down there at the bottom of that barrel with them, so that, they all can, be miserable together. It's like a contagious disease. Don't participate or play this game. When you give nothing to this kind of situation, then the seeds of toxicity lay dormant. It cannot grow if you don't feed it. So don't feed it. Don't give any attention to it. Leave it where it is, and choose yourself. Because when you choose yourself, then you can stay focused on healing your mental and physical health. Your silence to the situation will send a powerful message to these toxic individuals who want to drag you down to the bottom of the barrel. You send a message that you're not playing this game with them. You're going to leave them where they are, and you're going to choose yourself. I know that's what I've done. Choose your peace and healing while leaving them where they are. There's a saying that you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You can bring these people to the water and teach them how to heal, grow, and evolve, but you can't make them drink that water. They have to choose that themselves. Participating in this game of toxicity will affect your mental and physical health. It will damage it and tear it apart, because it will keep you stagnated and you can't grow, heal, and evolve. Don't play this game, guys. Set strong boundaries, because if you allow yourself to participate in this, then they have you where they want you, because you'll be so distracted with the toxicity that you forget about, yourself. And I say choose yourself. Stay focused on your healing. And one of the ways I've done this, because sometimes, what I'm going to say about this is that it doesn't come with an instruction book. But I learned a lot of creative ways to heal through therapy. And when I started to participate in that pro and con list, what my therapist had me to do is make out a pro and con list of what these individuals were bringing to my life, all the people who were in it at that particular time. And what I noticed out of all of the lists I made is that I was an overgiver. I was given and given and given to these individuals, and they were not returning anything. It was never an equal give or take. It was me giving to them, you know, overgiven. And I started to realize I was overgiven to people who didn't appreciate who I was, didn't appreciate my generosity and kindness. In fact, they thought I was naive because I was generous and kind. There's nothing weak about helping somebody, being kind, generous, even though it seems to be the rare thing in this world today. Don't play their game. Set boundaries. Choose yourself. Stay focused on your healing. And I found creative ways to heal, because as I started to set these boundaries and people start to hop, skip over them and disrespect them, I was forced to cut off, block, and delete. And when I got up and looked, my group of individual number of people were very, very slim. That huge number went down tremendously. And, you know, it hurt a lot, because I thought these people had my back, you know. But you learn when you go through circumstances and trials and tribulations, you learn who has your back and who doesn't. And that's what I needed to see, and that was a lesson. Remember, guys, people, circumstances, and situations come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And it's a lesson. And what I decided to do is to learn these lessons, because I wasn't learning them, because I was so busy worried about what other people thought, etc., and so forth. And then when I decided to put myself first and take care of my needs that were being neglected for far too long, I started to set those boundaries. And then I started to feel that self-care. As I did the work to heal, I started to self-care, self-love, and eventually lead to inner peace, you know. And once you get to a place of inner peace, you're unbothered by the noise. It's the metaphor that I use of a guy climbing a mountain with tons of bricks on his back. Not only does he have his burdens, but he's carrying everybody else's burdens. He can't make it until he throws those burdens off his back and walk upright up that hill and focus on him and choose himself. Then he can make it, you know. And prayer is a big thing with me, asking God to help me. And what I noticed as I continue to do that and be consistent and persistent and persevere is that as I took steps to help myself, God was in the background taking 2, 3, 4 steps on my behalf to help me. And I started to see that over and over again. So I started to do the work. It wasn't easy, guys. I had to look at why I was doing this. And it was because of being taught a broken mindset through organized religion that I grew up in at the time, that I didn't even have a choice in it. It was just because it's a family religion. But I had to change that broken thinking to, you know, and it took a lot of work. It wasn't easy. I had to look at the pain, address it, understand the root cause of that pain, where it was coming from, and then fix it. It's just like a doctor that you go to and you have some underlying health issue, and the doctor has to get to the root cause of it in order to help you heal that. And this is what you do with your mental and physical health. Look at the root cause, look at the pain. I grew up, remember, in a house where what happens here stays here, but nobody heals. But you can heal when you address the elephant in the room, look at it, address it, and do the work to heal. And never let anybody make you feel guilty about this. You know, so I found creative ways to heal because of it. And as I kept going and going, you know, I minimized the pain. You know, with grief and pain and stuff, you know, you can get through these things. And sometimes, you know, the pain comes back. But then as you continue to move forward, you find creative ways to deal with it. And one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is bracelets. You know, there are bracelets and things out there that can help you heal, like might be beneficial to your healing journey, especially if you're suffering with anxiety. I know in the beginning, after going through all this death, it was like a domino effect weekly during the shutdown, and having toxic people in my life and being stressed out, etc., and so forth. As I learned ways to heal, I started with therapy, music, prayer, and as I continue, I start to feel better. You feel better, you do better. And so I started looking at some other ways to, creatively to heal. Puzzles. There are puzzles out there, to keep your mind focused. Like there's puzzles and things that help that stimulate our minds mentally, and it may help to minimize the anxiety that you might be experiencing. I know it's helped me. And there are anxiety bracelets also that you can wear, and things that might help you, and other things that I'm going to post in the future that will might help you minimize the anxiety. And I'm just talking about how some of these things help me, mostly music and prayer, and like I said, wearing bracelets and things. My mom used to wear copper bracelets, and I would ask her about it, and she said it would ease her she had arthritis. It would ease that and some ailments she had in her body, and she said it really helped her. But I know with the anxiety bracelets, it can help. Do things, find creative ways to help yourself, guys. Never allow yourself to succumb to the pain and the trials and the tribulations, and especially bitterness, because I was in a place of bitterness for a long time because of betrayals, and people who were supposed to be there and have my back, and they showed me during my difficult times who they really were. But I needed to see that because it was a lesson. And once I learned the lesson, I closed those doors, set boundaries, in many cases cut off, block, and delete. Thank God for me for learning that lesson, and move over here, because as you do this, new doors will open, new situations with better friends, better people. And for those who had to close doors, especially on family situations like I had to, some people make their friends and their family, probably treat them better than some of their family members. So as I close these doors over here, God is helping me open up new doors, leaving the past in the past. Because you know why, guys? Because they were lessons, like, for me to learn. And once I learned them, I don't have to repeat them anymore. I learned the lesson, close the door, and move on to bigger and better things. Never allow yourself to stay in a place of bitterness, because bitterness will keep a chokehold on you and keep you stuck and stagnated, and you will miss blessings behind these doors over here that God may have for you. So learn the lessons. Forgive. The forgiveness is for you, not for the person who did whatever to you. It's for you, so that you can release all of that pain, and then you can move forward to what God has over here for you behind these doors here. Guys, please, before you go, take a look at this video, because underneath it's going to be about 4 links, and it's going to talk to you about anxiety bracelets, puzzles, and things like that. Take a look at that, guys. Really look into that, because that might be a stepping stone to help you. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to cure anything, but it might minimize anxiety, grief, if you're suffering with those things like I did. Find creative ways to help yourself mentally and physically. Remember, without your mental and physical health, you can't do anything for anyone else or yourself. And also, I've learned also to stay at a place of inner peace. And once you get there, you're unbothered by the noise around you. Remember, it's better to be at a place of inner peace than broken down into pieces. That's the message today. Please subscribe to the channel, invite others to do, because we're going to talk about it. Because if we don't talk about it, then we can't grow, heal, and evolve. And it's okay, if you feel a certain way. We are human, but this channel is a safe one where you can come, you can hear the messages, and it's about building up instead of tearing down. So subscribe to the channel, and also look at those links. and decide if this is something that you want to do. You know, there's 4 links there. And you guys take care of yourself. Do something today for yourself that's going to uplift your spirit. And I'll be back tomorrow with a new message. But don't forget to subscribe, because I can't commit to a time at this time. But I will be here tomorrow. Thank you guys for listening. This is Lisa, shedding love and light always to uplift you and encourage you to be the best version of yourself. Have a good evening, guys. Bye for now.